Jagrata Jaya Masters. I once heard somebody say the mind can be the biggest trap or the biggest liberator. The more you grow, the more you realize how true that is. Left to its own, the mind is a trap. Why? The default tendency is that the mind gets distracted by whatever is loudest. Whatever has the most energy, whatever is the brightest, the loudest, whatever, the mind gets distracted. If a loud sound happens, you're not listening to me, you're listening to a loud sound. Period. That's just what's going to happen. If a bright light all of a sudden shines, all your attention is going to the bright light. The mind is going to get distracted by whatever is the strongest, the loudest. So then why is mind by default a trap? Because the loudest thing going on inside of your mind is what's called your personal mind. What does that mean? Your mind, in truth, someday you'll understand, the Buddhists say there's a thing called empty mind. That is what mind is. It's like a computer that has no programming. It's not stupid. It's brilliant. But it has not been programmed. It doesn't have a way of behaving, but it's capable of behaving anyway. That's empty mind. What happens is the body is rather loud, if you haven't noticed. All right? It either has drives, or it has pains, or it has pleasures. It's a very gross thing, if you will. It's very grounded, and it has animalistic tendencies. Of course it did. It evolved from the animal, and therefore it has all those tendencies. And it has a nervous system, and that nervous system, I always think, is very funny. If you have pain, I'm not laughing at pain. People have pain. We all have pain. Some people have a lot of pain, so let's have compassion. But pain is funny. You're just sitting there minding your own business, and all of a sudden, blah! Somebody screams. And you're going to pay attention, aren't you? That's why it screamed. You're not your body. You're in here somewhere, all right? But your body needs help. I'm hungry. This hurt. And so that's what it's made to do. It's made to scream. And you get distracted by it. You can bet you do. And you get pulled down into it. All right? That's not all that funny, but I would like you to laugh. Gandhi did, because Gandhi could put up with any pain, right? He changed the world. Isn't that amazing? So basically, you have these distractions. The first distraction is the body. And the body gets distracted because of things that it interacts with. And so they come in and basically, let's get rid of the body for a second. That's your first distraction. So that's going to pull down to your very personal mind. Do I feel good? Do I feel bad? Do I like where you touch me? Do I like where you touch me? Do I like who touched me? I don't like where you touched me. You got all kinds of stuff going on, right? And it basically gets sent up, and you're distracted by it. And it's very, very sensitive, isn't it? If somebody walks up to you and says, "Oh my God, I've missed you so much," and hugs you, if you like that person, you get pulled one way. If you don't like that person at all, then basically a whole other thing happens. So there's these energies. They can be physiological, they can be psychological, they can be emotional. Let's get that over with. Do emotions distract you? Yes or no? That's funny. Can your thought patterns distract you? Why did she say that? I don't know why she said that. Should I do something about it? I don't know. And just make a bigger deal out of it. But I want to. I'm going to say something. I don't want to say it again. Anybody got that going on in there? Do you get distracted by it? Fine. That's what's going on. Is your consciousness is what's getting distracted. It's getting distracted by noise. And mind is noise. The personal mind is noise. The body is noise. And the world really has nothing to do with you, except it comes in through your senses and creates noise. All right. So that's what pulls consciousness down. That's a fall from the garden. You get pulled down into the personal emotions, into the personal thoughts, into the personal body, and the world becomes personal because it affects you, and you take it personal. And you take the world personal, depending on how he said it and when he said it, and what was the accent he said it with, and how strong was the first word versus the last, you take it personal. Okay? So that's what's going on in here. The default is the mind is a trap, because the mind is receiving all these messages. Let's say you liked feeling sad. Something happens outside that makes you feel sad, you like it. It feels good. Somebody else can handle feeling sad. And it's just whatever the mind decides. And then it traps you into that. So the bottom line becomes like this. If what's happening, the mind likes. Your mind has preferences, doesn't it? Come on, you don't call them preferences, you call them right. This is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what should happen, this is what shouldn't happen. That should never have happened. Not on my watch. That's your mind. Those are thoughts. Your thoughts have decided how everybody and everything should be. And they say you're right. Everyone's mind says it's right. Do you want to know why? Psychology teaches that man is the sum of his learned experiences. I never thought about that a lot. I just hear it. Man is the sum of learned experiences. In fact, first as I got into yoga and started to grow, I said, no, I'm not the sum of learned experiences. I'm watching a mind that is the sum of learned experiences, aren't I? I'm conscious of the fact that there's someone in there that is the sum of his learned experiences. It had mommy experiences and daddy experiences and first boyfriend experiences and girlfriend experiences and first divorce and second divorce, third divorce. And right, it's had all these experiences. And how it thinks now is the sum of those experiences, isn't it? That's pretty neat. But I'm not the sum of learned experiences. I'm the consciousness that is aware that the mind and the heart are the sum of their learned experiences. And in truth, a lot of body work, people understand, so is your body. If you had something that you fell out of a tree and broke your arm once, you don't have to use the mind or the heart to be sensitive. It's like it happens sooner, happens automatically in the body. It remembered. Therefore, it's the sum of the learned experiences. So that's a true statement. That's the sum of the learned experiences. Now, what does that mean? That means that you're not right. When? Ever. Why? You've had experiences. You have an experience right now. You're sitting where you're sitting. You're seeing what you're seeing. You're hearing what you're hearing. Right? Now, don't get upset if I ask you, how many other experiences are going on in the world right now that you're not having? Can you count them? 700 billion zillion trillion. And you're having one experience. Then the next moment, you'll have another experience. See, I'm learning stuff, right? There's another 700 billion zillion experiences going on that you're not having. Therefore, you don't know zilch. If you're the sum of your learned experiences, that's like 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is over point 01. That's what you experience every moment of your life compared to what there is to experience. Now tell me what you know. Nothing. Who will dare to think like that? But don't worry, nobody else knows anything either. It's just, I want you to digest that. That is so deep. It's so important to understand. The problem is, it's the only experience you've had. Those are the experiences you had. Therefore, they are rather important to you. Why? They're all I got. If I go in there and program the computer that was empty to do one thing, and then I keep asking what's going on, it'll keep telling me the same thing. And it will believe it's right. I'm not lying to you. That's the absolute truth. I know what's going on. I know what she's like. I met her already. You met her once? Give me a break. She had a bad day or a good day. You don't know anything about that person. But you think you do, don't you? That's the personal mind. It's programmed by your personal past experiences. You're not getting around that. That's all it's got. And so if it looks there and says, no, I know it's true, I'll tell you what she did. What else did she do? Give me a break. You met her for 5 minutes. What else did she do? Right? And you go through her whole life and through everything. You're not even close. You don't know anything about anybody at all. And even what you think you know about a person is filtered through your mind. Your Uncle George used to chew gum. And now you meet somebody who's chewing gum. If you like your Uncle George, you have an affinity toward that person. You do. If you didn't like your Uncle George at all, you don't even stop to talk to that person. I don't like gum chewers. So that's the personal mind. It's the mind that's programmed by your experiences. And then everything you look at looks that way. How else is it going to look? That's passing through the filter of your experiences. You're going to react accordingly. Your whole concept of right or wrong in politics and this and that, and the whole ball game. Let's say you grew up in a family where they always were very vibrantly arguing at the dinner table. And you loved it. Everybody shared and talked. You grew up in a family where there's no raising your voice. You don't talk at the dinner table. We're eating, all right? You just got programmed. Who's right? So of all those hundreds of billions and zillions of things that are going on at the same time, every moment of the planet Earth, which ones are right and which ones are wrong? It all depends upon what happened before and how you look at it and how you're programmed and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's just the reality of what's going on. So basically, at some point you understand you are being distracted always by your personal mind. Those are your opinions, your hopes, your dreams, your concepts, your view. Oh my God, he said hopes and dreams. But hopes and dreams are spiritual. Ha, ha, ha. Let's take a look for a moment. What do you hope will happen? Make a list. What you hope will happen? Those lists ain't matching. Because what you hope is that what I want will happen. Well, maybe you hope what you don't want will happen. Which one do you hope that whatever you don't want will happen? Nobody. You hope that what you want will happen. What are your dreams? That someday it'll be the way I hope it'll be. Someday it'll be the way I want. Well, how did you decide what you want? The sum of your learned experiences. That's why there were wars. Somebody was asking me, why there's so many wars? I don't know whether there are more. Why? Because nobody can agree. There's no way they agree. Who has had the experiences you've had? Go through your life, each moment, all the experiences you're having. Who that is alive today has had that path through life so they had those experiences? Nobody. Who that has ever lived has had those experiences? Nobody. Who that will ever live has had those experiences? Nobody. In other words, you're very special. You're giving a private showing of Earth, of life on Earth. Isn't that amazing? You're very unique. No one has ever been like you. No one will ever be like you. Don't go looking around for a soulmate. I want somebody who thinks the way I do. No, it ain't going to happen. That's not how it is. It's never, because nobody had the experiences you had. And to show how powerful it is, let's say you like somebody. Okay, that's the experience you've had, whatever, you experienced them, your past experiences, it all melds together, matches. You got somebody you like, right? They say one thing in one moment that you didn't expect them to say, and you don't like them. Right or wrong? Okay? That's the sum of your learned experiences. You had one more experience, and your whole mind changed, and your heart changed. I'm not trying to embarrass you. Is it true or not? You're in trouble. If you don't wake up and realize that that is what's going on, I'm not making this up, that is the reality of what's going on. And then what you do about that, and that's what happens. So you're being distracted by your preferences. You did not decide your preferences. You did not decide your preferences. They are the sum of your learned experiences. No, I rebelled. My parents made me go to church or temple all the time. Now I'll never go. You're the sum of your learned experiences. Those experiences melded how you're thinking. So whether you go to church all the time or you never go to church, it's all just experiencing. I read a book. No, I'm not the sum of learned experiences. I read a book. Okay, that's an experience too. I watched a TV show. I watched a cartoon when I was little. I liked it. Bugs Bunny. Don't you think it didn't affect? Do you understand that? Your past is still in there, isn't it? Some of your learned experiences. And that is what melded the way your personal mind thinks. And it does think like that, doesn't it? You do have concepts and views and hopes and dreams. Do you have preferences? Do you have things you want to happen and things that if they happen, they're really wrong? And isn't your concept of right and wrong based on the sum of your learned experiences? That's really nice that you see that. Now let's take one more step. Can you accept that everybody else's is too? Can you accept that everybody else is exactly like you, the sum of their learned experiences? All the computers, they're the same. Give them the same program and they're the same. Give them a different program and they give different answers. That's when you start to understand what's going on. That's when you can start to be something greater than a normal human being. So what does a normal human being do if they are distracted by your thoughts and emotions? I just showed you your thoughts and emotions that come from the sum of your learned experiences. So now your consciousness is pulled down into these emotions, is pulled down into these likes and dislikes and concepts and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams, all that garbage. Our mind and emotions. And you are pulled down. How far are you pulled down? Most have never, ever gotten out. Most have never, ever gotten out. They don't even know that there is a getting out. You see pictures on the wall, right? Those are beings who got out. Someday you'll understand what that means. What does it mean to get out? Does it mean I'm not the sum of my learned experiences? Your mind is the sum of your learned experiences. Period. That's what your personal mind. That's what it's made up of. Your personal heart is the sum of your learned experiences. So are theirs. What's the difference? They're not distracted by it. It's that simple. Are you capable of... Here, have you ever had a dream, woke up in the morning, and looked at it and said, what a crazy dream, and went on. Have you ever had a dream, woke up in the morning and said, oh my God, what was that about? Oh my God, I hope it doesn't happen. Should I tell somebody? Have you ever let go of a dream instantaneously, not be distracted by it? Have you ever not, and it screwed up your life, screwed up your day? Okay, it's the same thing. You can have experiences, and the mind is going to tend to store the ones that were strong. It's going to do that, obviously. Right? Something happens that's big, you hold it in there. Something happens meaningless, it goes right through. So you become the sum of your learned experiences. Somebody once asked Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna was a fully enlightened being, totally undistracted by, not the world, himself. He wasn't distracted by himself. Well, what happens if you're not distracted by yourself? Then the consciousness itself is who you are. You're not what you're conscious of. You're just conscious. That's the deep states that Zen talks about, that all the great traditions talk about. Christ said, the kingdom is within you. I don't know how to understand that, because it's literal. The kingdom, meaning God, the whole thing, heaven, beyond it all, the kingdom, is where? Within, okay, there we go. So it's not the behavior outside, it's not this, that. Within you. If I ask you, are you in there? Forget everything I said so far. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you in there? Yes or no? How do you know? It's a stupid question, because I wouldn't have heard you if I wasn't. I'm in there. I'm a conscious being. Are you aware? Are you a conscious, aware being? That's who you are. And that's what he meant when he says the kingdom is within you. It's within the deepest part of your being, the essence, your soul. Soul is supposed to be the core of your essence. The core of your essence is you who's aware. Are you aware of your thoughts? Therefore, you are not your thoughts. There's something you're aware of. Are you aware of your emotions? Uh-oh, sacred ground here. Are you aware of your emotions? Are you aware of your emotions? Then you're not your emotions. You're the one who's aware of your emotions. Are you not aware that you feel love? Are you not aware that you feel fear? You're not aware that you feel hate? Are you not aware that you feel rejection and jealousy? Those are objects of consciousness. They're things you're aware of. And you're aware of nice thoughts and not such nice thoughts. Which one of you would take every thought you ever had and put it in Times Square on the big board as it passes by? But you're aware of those thoughts. Okay? You're aware of them, but you didn't like them. Okay? So basically, you're the consciousness. So if your consciousness is not distracted by your personal thoughts and your personal emotions, your personal heart, and also the tiniest little thing in your body, it's hot, I don't want to be hot. Okay? If it's not distracted, what happens to it? It's not pulled down. You're pulled down into this stuff. A depressed person is pulled down into very low depressed stuff. A positive person is pulled down into very positive, nice stuff, is how I like it to be. An enlightened being is not pulled down at all. So again, they asked Ramakrishna, it was high as you can get, all right? They asked him, does an enlightened being, a realized being, ever feel anger? You know what he said? Yes. Whoa. He said, but it's like riding on water. What difference does it make what you ride on water? It doesn't last about 1/1000th of a second. It just passes right through. So yes, anger is a human emotion, is it not? There's some learned experiences. Somebody did something, reminded you of something that bothered you before. All of a sudden some anger shoots up, passes right through. It doesn't affect your behavior at all. Doesn't do anything. It doesn't become part of your sum of your learned experiences. What's the sum of the learned experiences for everything you ever wrote on water? Zilch. All right? So it's about this concept of, are you being distracted by what is going on in your personal mind? And the truth is, you are completely and utterly addicted, not distracted, addicted to your personal thoughts and your personal heart and your personal body. Oh my God, it got a gray hair. That's not okay with me. What's not okay? The body's okay with it. It happens very naturally. Oh my God, it's getting old. I don't want it to get old. What's the matter with you? This is what it does. But that's not okay with me. Oh, you have preferences in your mind that have nothing to do with the nature of your body. Well, you have preferences in your mind that have nothing to do with the nature of anybody else either. That's what makes the mess. That's why there are wars. That's why there's all this disturbance and all that kind of. That's why we can't imagine all the people living life at peace. Why? Because they are programmed, their personal mind is programmed by their past experiences. Nobody else's past experiences are the same as theirs, and you're serious about your preferences. You're serious about your preferences. You say, I'm right. and you have proof that you're right. Here are all the experiences I've had to prove that I'm right. Of course you have the experiences that determine how you think. So now you take what you think. You say these experiences prove it. It's not proper logic, all right? You can't have the sum of your learned experiences determine how you think and say that your thinking is right because it matches the sum of your learned experiences. And that's why you have trouble getting along with people. You have trouble getting along with the world. And now what do? What is the natural tendency if you've done this and you're not maintaining your seat of consciousness, you're pulled into it. It distracts you constantly all the time. What do? You try to make the world in front of you be the way that matches what's going on inside of you. You sit there and say, no, I want it to be like this. I'm going to make it be like that. Fine. I would never teach you not to do that. By all means, go out there, see how it works. What did the Beatles say? Lennon, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Have you noticed? Life unfolds. You have these preferences. Go out there, have fun, because you won't. Go fight with it. And plus, if there are people in your world that you see who do that are very powerful, look what it does. What does it do to everybody else? What does it do to them? Look what happened to Hitler. It's always that way. If you sit there and decide, it will be the way I want. What do you mean it'll be the way you want? You just made up the way you want. I'm sure they have psychoanalyzed Hitler as to why he didn't like Jews and why this and why that. Do you understand that? There are reasons. He was the sum of his learned experiences, wasn't he? And what he did with it was say, I'm right. Didn't he? And he went out there and tried to convince everybody else that he's right. And then I think it's a very healthy thing to do once in a while, once a year. Go look at the end of World War II, what Berlin looked like, the city, what Paris looked like, what London looked like. These major, beautiful structures of civilization were in rubble, completely wiped out. There wasn't a building, hardly a building left standing. That's what his deciding that he was right did, didn't it? So you catch on that that's what you tend to do. You tend to say, I'm not comparing you with Hitler. I am, but I'm not. Right? But I'm sitting there saying you're doing the same thing. You're saying the way I see it is what should be. Okay, now what are you going to do about that? Get depressed because it's not that way. I'm going to change it. Change what? Everything. Everyone in front of me. I don't want a neighbor living there. That's not the kind of people I want living there. I don't want you here. I don't want you there. I don't want you as a co-worker. I don't want you doing that. You don't dress the way I want. Your hair's not the way I want. You're blah, 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 blah. You don't believe what I believe. You don't believe what I believe. Get out of here. So you just catch on that that's what's happening. And that's why the world is the way it is. And it's not going to change till you change. I'm sorry, it's not. Like you can sit there and make somebody make you change. You didn't change. You just suppressed it. It's coming back. You can't make, this is it. This is some of the learned experiences. Until the person can step back and realize, I'm not the sum of my learned experiences. I'm the consciousness that is aware that my mind, my thoughts, and my emotions are the sum of learned experiences. But that's not who I am. That's the only way out. That's the only way there will ever be peace. So basically, as long as you are addicted to listening to your mind, your views, your opinions, your preferences, your hopes, your dreams, your concepts, you're lost. And you're just part of the problem, not part of the solution. The only ones that are part of the solutions are the ones that can sit on the table and say, look, your behavior is not what I would do, but I understand. I'm not the sum of your learned experiences. I'm the sum of my learned experiences. That mediator, that being, that everyone fits inside of them, bring them to the table. Let them run things. Because then they can see a possibility of how we can bring harmony amongst all of this. So someday you wake up and you realize the mind is programmed. That's just the way it is. And people do things based on the programming. Do they have to? No. No, you can rise above it. An alcoholic can stop drinking alcohol. A drug addict can stop the drug. It's not easy, is it? They have to go through withdrawal. You have to go through withdrawal of your addiction to yourself. It's not easy, is it? Watch your mind sit there and say, all right, watch this. How could you say that? I can't believe you said that. I never would have said that. I never would have said something like that. No, get out. Now, how stupid is that? Of course you wouldn't have said it. You didn't have their experiences. rather than sitting there. How about I say this? I want to know why you said that. Explain to me how you could say something like that to me. Well, do you have 4 or 5 years to sit down? And we'll lay it all out and put it in a computer, and you'll see that those exact words will come out if that was the sum of learned experiences. Wow, this is called waking up. So basically, you wake up. You wake up. Waking up means I'm not my mind, my personal mind. I have one. It's very opinionated. Let's say that for sure, all right? And it knows what it wants and it knows what it doesn't want. And what happens if it gets what it wants? How do you feel? Whee! What happens if it doesn't get what it wants? Ooh. What happens if it gets what it doesn't want? Your mind, the sum of your learned experiences, determining your entire experience of life. So obviously you want to feel good. Obviously you don't want to feel bad. So you fight. You go out there and manipulate. And they teach you to. That's what I like the most. They teach you to. Go out and take what you want. Determine what you want and do not quit till you get it. You have no idea how shocking that sounds to an awakened person. In other words, the world... Guess what the world in front of you is? Is there a world that unfolds in front of you? Yes or no? All the time. Is it the sum of your learned experiences? Think about it for a moment. It didn't have your experiences. The moment unfolding in front of you did not have your experiences. Right now, you're together. You're sharing the same experience. You're sharing the experience the world is presenting. But the world had tons of experiences. The moment in front of you. The moment in front of you. The only moment in front of you. Where did it come from? The sum of its learned experiences. That's called science. Why is it raining on my birthday? It doesn't know it's your birthday. You're doing that. The world in front of you, the moment in front of you, the moment in front of you is always the sum of its learned experiences. There are reasons it is the way it is. That's what science is about. Studying the physics, the chemistry, the health factors, the this, the that. Psychology, study the sum of the person's learned experience. Freud, what did he do? Tell me about your learned experiences. Tell me about mommy and daddy. Look back, because you're the sum of your learned experiences. But that moment in front of you is not the sum of your learned experiences. It's a moment that's independent, that's passing before you. If you look to the right, it's a different moment. If you look up, it's a different moment. Every single thing at every single point of Einstein's time-space continuum is there because of all the things that happened that made it be there. Things happen because of cause and effect. The moment in front of you is a result of all the causes that ever happened from the history of time. Some of you like to understand some basic science. It's good to. How about this? The moment in front of you is the quantum field. That's where they look down far enough to say there are no particles, there are no atoms, there are no molecules, there's only energy. And there are things that happen in that energy, which we don't totally understand, that cause it to behave as a particle sometimes and behave as a wave other times, or, by the way, simultaneously, a wave and a particle. So it just kind of, a particle pops out of it. They don't know where it's going to do it. And what's a particle? An electron. What's a particle? A quark. Up quarks, down quarks, etc. They make neutrons and protons, and those little particles pop out of this field of energy, and because of their characteristics when they pop out, they have charge, they have color, they have spin, they have all kinds of stuff. There's all quantum physics, that they attract each other, they come together. And all of a sudden, this particle and that particle and that particle, all of which are just waves, become an atom. And then the atoms attract due to all the laws, and then, hi guys. That's the truth. That's science from all in Aristotle, and back then tried to understand what's out there. Why is it out there? Wow, look what they found. You know what they found? Nothing. It's not really here. And you know what? I'm not going to go there, right? Go back thousands and thousands of years to the Upanishads, to the great yogic teachings, where they say it's all energy. It's all energy vibrating. It all comes from a field of energy. It didn't take thousands and thousands of years of science. In any event, that's what. Why is it raining now? That's why. He literally goes all the way down to there. Blow your mind? Okay, there. That's the impersonal mind. I told you, mind can be the greatest trap, be the liberator. I now have talked to you about a level of mind that liberates you, as opposed to the level of mind that traps you. Do you see it? So the personal mind which is not paying attention to anything except your tiny little experiences, which are nothing, traps you into saying, I'm right, and I want this, and I have to get this, and I need it the way I want, and talk to me the way I want to be talked to, and have fun. I hope you're having fun, all right? Because you're not going to. Because that moment in front of you is not going to be the way you want it to be. And if it is, you probably made believe it was, because you wanted it to. You projected what you wanted onto, oh, you're exactly what I've been looking for ever since I was little. Run, if they say that to you. Because you're not. They just projected that out onto you. They wanted it to be that way. Otherwise, it just is the way it is. So what's going on inside of you, in your personal minds, is some of your learned experiences. What's going on outside every moment is the sum of its learned experiences, and they are not the same, and they're not supposed to be the same, and they will never be the same. Why would they be the same? You grew up in Connecticut, you grew up in New York, then the moment here didn't do that. And the moment here includes the person that's here, and includes the weather that's here, and includes every single thing that's going on right now. Has nothing to do with you. I say that in the new book and people freak out. Nothing is personal. Nothing is personal. They can't get that. Why? We take it really personal, don't we? Nothing is personal. I just showed you, right? Personal means some of my learned experiences. That's what's personal to me. What I like, what I don't like, how I look at it, my views, my opinions, that's my personal being, and I stand by it. Okay? That moment out there has nothing to do with that stuff. It's the sum of its cause and effect that caused it to be the way it is, and it does not have your history, and it didn't come from where you came from, did it? Nothing is personal. It just is. That's very Zen. How does Zen say it? Flowers are red, water's blue, grass is green. Things are the way they are because of everything that made them be that way, including the person next to you. That explains everything, doesn't it? The Gita says that. Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna, that which is. That which is not. What's so difficult? What's difficult is, I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be otherwise. And where did you get that notion? The sum of learned experiences. Well, it's not going to be that way. And if somebody says, well, why can't it be that way? It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be the result of cause and effect. And that's how it's going to unfold. Reality wins. I define reality in the new book as reality is that which already happened. It's not what's supposed to or not supposed to or good or bad or right or wrong or just or unjust. It has nothing to do with that. It's like, that happened. Now what? Can you handle it? Now we're having a serious discussion. Can you handle reality? It's embarrassing to say no, isn't it? But the answer is no, isn't it? They're constantly fighting with it. Right? How dare you? How dare you do that? How dare you say that to me? I didn't know you ever did that. You're telling me when you were 6 years old you did that? I don't know if I can marry you. Some of your learned experiences. All right, just be quiet for a moment. Now do you understand why it's such a mess? So don't say it's not supposed to be such a mess. Until that changes, it's going to be a mess. Because you're going to go out there and screw around with the reality that's unfolding in front of you because you can't handle it. There's many different levels you can't handle it. One, you sit there and say, that did not just happen. Not on my watch. That's called denial. It causes a mess. Go study psychology. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. My parents didn't get divorced. So one, you sit there and say, no, it didn't happen. The other, you sit there and say, it happened, but that's not okay with me. I'm never going to talk to you again. By the way, that's not what acceptance means. It's better than denial, all right? At least you dealt with it a little bit, not very well. The other is, it happened. I don't like it. I don't like that it happened, but it happened. Ooh, that's getting a little more sane, isn't it? You see the hierarchy? And you do every one of them. Don't sit there and judge somebody else. You sit there and say, it happened, but I don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm going to try and handle it. That's really nice, all right? But it's not high enough. Why? Because now you took the struggle from outside to inside. Now you're struggling inside. That's nice. At least you're not dumping all over the world and causing all kinds of karma and different stuff. You're struggling. I don't like it. I don't like it to happen. That's not high enough to suppress and manipulate and rationalize inside, because you just, all you did was play around with your personal stuff and make it to where you can cope with it. So what's the next step? The next step is, why am I judging that? Why can't I be okay with reality? Not I'm not okay with it, but I'm going to try and handle it. Why can't I be okay with it? Then it forces you to look deeper inside. Buddhists say work at the root. Now I have to look and say, why am I the way I am that can't handle what you just said? That can't handle the reality of what took place. You forgot our anniversary. Well, that's reality. Sorry, I forgot the anniversary. Well, that's not okay with me. How not okay? On the couch for 3 weeks. Out of the house for the rest of your life. What level you want to go? Okay? Here, I'll handle it this way. I see it. I'm not going to say anything about it. I hate you. But I'm not going to bother you about it. I know I'm going to be very brave, right? Look at all these different levels of what you screw around with stuff. Why? Because you have a preference and you can't handle what doesn't match your preference. So let's skip to what's really going on. Instead of blaming the world and everyone in it for not matching your preferences, maybe you go to the level of saying, why do I have these preferences? Why do I have these preferences? Why can't I handle reality? I'm the highest species on the planet. I can live in the tundra. I can live in the rainforest. I can eat vegan. I can eat vegetables. I can eat meat. I can do anything. Oh my God. Some people are breatharians. I am very versatile outside. I ain't very versatile inside, am I? And so you come down and you say, this is your growth. Your growth is to sit there and say, if I can't handle it, it's because there's something wrong with me. I'm not evolved enough to handle reality. But that's not reality. If it happened and you can't handle it, you can't handle reality. If she said it and you can't handle that she said it, you can't handle reality. Who's going to own it? Very few people. But you're not going to grow spiritually. You're not going to grow as a person until you're willing to take that position. Because reality is reality. And everybody's different because they're all some of learned experiences. And science is science. It rains when it rains. And if I can't handle it, if I'm driving down the road and the driver in front of me is driving 10 miles an hour below the speed limit and I'm in a rush and I can't handle it, I'm talking to him. Come on, buddy. Look at the sign, 55, not 30. He's not hearing you. There's nothing rational about that discussion. Okay? And so you wake up and you say, I got some work to do. And it's not outside. It's inside. So my work is, can I handle the moment unfolding in front of me? Not what I think should or shouldn't or anything like that. Start right now. There's a moment unfolding in front of you. Now you understand it's not going to be what you want. And can you handle it? Can you handle it? Well, how do you do that? Well, we teach, different techniques. What I have learned works very, very well is relax. What do you mean relax? It's bothering me. Relax in the face of the fact that it's bothering you. And what people misunderstand with those teachings is, if I relax, it's still bothering me. It's a bother. I feel jealous. It didn't stop it from feeling jealous. No, relaxing will not stop it from feeling jealous. Why? Because jealousy is jealousy. It's a thing in the universe. It's a vibration of emotion that you feel inside. People know about it. Everyone know what I mean by jealousy? Or insecurity, or self-consciousness. I'm just throwing words around, but you all know what they mean, don't you? Because they're things in the universe. They're vibrations of energy in the universe, and we've all experienced them at different times. So if you relax, it doesn't mean it changes. No. That's a total misunderstanding. That you should never feel anything like that, like Ramakrishna with anger or jealousy or insecurity or self-consciousness. They're feelings. As you change some of your learned experiences, as you stop storing stuff inside, it'll change. But right now, when it's happening, it's not going to change because you relax. What it's going to do is you don't make it relax. You're not going to make anger relax. Have you ever noticed you can't make anger relax? It's not its nature. Its nature is way more bullish than relaxing type stuff, right? It says what it is. You relax. If you've never heard this before, you understand. You relax. Who? You who is experiencing the anger, the consciousness, the awareness of being who's in there, feeling, experiencing, you relax. No way. If I relax, it'll come up. That's right. And guess what it'll do if you keep relaxing? It'll pass through. That's called letting go. That's relaxing. Not, I'm going to make it be the way I want by relaxing. No, that's not what the technique's about. It's not like, I'll do yoga asanas. You do yoga asanas and you get quieter and the stuff can pass. So meditate. Stuff will pass. Why? Because you let go. So if you're in there and you are in there, someone once asked Yogananda, Master Enlightened, I want to know God. He was very sincere. I think it took place in a department store. Master was walking to the department store. A person ran up, grabbed him, said, Master, you're going to, I read all about you. I want to know God. I want to know God. And Master turned around nonchalantly in the middle of the department store and said, He dwells right behind your every thought. What dwells right behind your every thought? The awareness that is aware of the thought. Behind every single thought. Nice thoughts, not nice thoughts, clean thoughts, dirty thoughts. Who's back there? The consciousness that experienced the awareness of the thought. That's you. You relax. Oh my God. But I won't protect myself. That's right. Because protecting yourself is to keep it. You push it away. You push it away. If I'm afraid of dogs and I hear barking in front of me and some dogs are trying to go home, but home is on the other side of me, and I'm throwing rocks and sticks and yelling and screaming, guess what? You'll be there all night. It didn't change anything. All you did was keep it away because you couldn't handle the fear. What happens if you stop throwing? Then the dogs will run right by you. Inside, it's exactly the same. You relax. But I don't want to. Of course you don't want to. Because the part that's talking is the sum of your learned experiences. It doesn't like what's happening. That's the essence of all spirituality. You relax. People come, sometimes say, even Christians say, how can you love your enemy? Relax. Who said they're your enemy? You did. Relax. And so you keep letting go of your personal stuff. You let go of that noise, which is the sum of your learned experiences. Why would I do that? Because it makes a mess of your life and everybody else's. If you're out there trying to make every single person be the way you want them to be, it's not going to make for a nice life. All right, what if I did that? What if I relaxed through? We talked about first denial, second resistance, third inner turmoil of trying to accept. Now ultimately, what if you sit there and say, if I can't handle reality, there's something wrong with me, so I'm going to work on me. There's a beautiful saying that Rumi said, yesterday I was clever, so I was trying to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. That's the essence of spirituality. It's the essence of a higher life. But you can't make somebody else do it. All you can do is you do it. So you sit in there and you learn to breathe through your stuff. You learn to let go. You learn to relax. If I'm feeling resistance, it's because something's resisting what's happening. It takes two to tango. There's no resistance with one. It takes two. Well, you're the two. You have no control over the one. You think you do, but you don't. And so now you come back and you let go. Now what happens? What happens if I do that? First you're going to notice is you can handle the moment in front of you. You can. You can handle the weather. You can handle the car in front of you. You can. You're just not bothering to. You need to practice acceptance. You need to that's what acceptance means. I can allow reality to exist. I think it's very big of you. That you can allow reality to exist, all right? So you practice letting go. You practice letting go. And little by little, you get good at it. And eventually you become a letting go machine. That the first thing you do when something starts to resist inside of you is relax through that. Every single time. People say to me, but what about boundaries? Don't you have boundaries? No, you do not have boundaries. You do not have boundaries, not inside. We'll talk about that. Don't get scared. It basically, inside, a boundary means I'm going to keep part of my personal mind. I'm protecting my ego. I'm protecting my personal self. Otherwise, you sit there and say, there's no boundary to accepting reality. Now, does that mean you let somebody beat on you? Does that mean you let somebody steal your car? No, it does not mean that. It means first you let go. Somebody stole my car. And you accept. You better accept. Otherwise, he stole my car. Start shooting everybody. I don't know what you're going to do, but it's not going to be nice. All right? You let go. Now what do? Now that I have let go of my inability to handle reality, I clearly and consciously look and say, what is the right thing? Dharma, or dharma, right action. What is the right thing to do in this situation? And maybe somebody very calm says, call the police, or do this, or do that. And you make a rational, just thing, right? And if they sit there and find the car, and some drug addict stole your car and dented it, and it comes back, or you sit there and say, okay, that's reality, all right? What can I do to raise the situation? Well, do you want to put the person in jail? What do you want to do? You want to prosecute? What are my options? Ooh, wow, that was a nice question to ask. Of course I do. Drug addicts. Do you hear me? What if you brought peace? I'll cry. What if you brought peace in this world because you're at peace? Not because you're fighting for peace. Not because you think everybody else should be at peace and not do what they're doing. You bring peace into the world by letting go of what is disturbed inside of you and can't handle reality. And now bring a being who can handle reality down here. What you're bringing into the world then is beautiful. You're bringing something beautiful instead of bringing just another one of you humans. You're not human. You're looking at one. You hang out with one. And it's not so much fun for you or anybody else. Okay? So that's what letting go does. Letting go is ultimately, I'm not denying it, I'm not accepting it, I'm forgiving it. I once taught, this is very deep, right? Well, isn't forgiveness important? In order to have to forgive, you've already judged. If I understand that you're some of your learned experiences and you're behaving in accordance to that, you're doing drugs because everybody left you and you're paying them money and I didn't walk in your shoes. I'm not judging you. Then I don't have to forgive you, do I? Now we're going very, very deep of how beautiful it can be in there. If you let go of yourself, there's something very beautiful left, the consciousness. Christ said you must die to be reborn. A nice Jewish yogi. I love Christ's teaching. He says you must die to be reborn. A yogi knows what that means. You must die to the personal self to be freed and liberated to be who you are. The consciousness, spirit, Shakti. And just to close out, what happens when you transcend your personal self, not by pushing it away. That's not transcending, that's suppressing or rationalizing or denying. But literally you let go. Yes, you're going to have emotions. You're going to have personal reactions. So what? Big deal. There's going to be wind. Stop it. No, don't just enjoy it. You just let this stuff go. It just passes through. And what's left is the consciousness. And then what happens is, and it takes time, and I don't like to do some drug or something like that. I want a permanent state. I want a state where you're there. That's who you are, not an experience you had. It's your being. You're not telling somebody, oh, last year I had this amazing experience. What happened now? Well, I'm not doing so good. I'm trying to get back. You hear me? No, I want you there permanently. How? By letting go of what's making you not be there, which are the distractions of your personal self. Do I have to get rid of the personal self to not be distracted? Of course not. I don't have to not have noise to not be distracted by it. You go to sleep, there's noise outside. You're capable of centering so deeply inside that you can handle anything. And then what happens is the energy changes direction. I'm going to do it very quickly. I have 1 minute left to finish all of spirituality. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. If your consciousness, which is your energy, which is your being, your awareness of being, is not pulled down into you with all that Shakti and all that power, that all your emotions and thoughts and likes and dislikes, all that's a lot of power. It's all coming from self. It's all coming from consciousness. That power is being pulled, like all light comes from the sun. It's being pulled down. When it ceases to be distracted by that and is able to let it pass through, it just passes through like white lines on a road. All of a sudden it changes direction. What does the energy pull? What do you mean? It starts to pull you up. You start feeling sometimes in meditation, you've experienced it, but I want you to experience it all the time. All the time, there's this upward pull. You're not doing it. It's not a technique. It's just the Shakti change direction because it's not being pulled down, not being distracted, be pulled down. And it starts being pulled up. And you start feeling joy and ecstasy and love. You start realizing that every single beautiful thing you've ever felt your entire life came from there. But the difference was you were open down here so that the beauty was able to flow, the inspiration was able to flow, the passion was able to flow. And the moment you closed your heart or closed your mind, you didn't feel it. So you thought you had to find the right job, the right spouse, the right number of children, the right amount of money, the right this, the right that, the right look, the right clothes, the right this, the right everything. And don't get old, whatever you do. You thought you had to do that in order to feel love, in order to feel passion, in order to feel inspiration, in order to can't wait to go to work and do what you're doing. That's ridiculous. Eventually, it starts pulling you up and it's pulling you into that. There's a name for self in the yoga tradition. It's Satchidananda, the eternal conscious ecstasy. Oh my God, that sounds pretty good. I'll buy some, all right? What's the cost? Letting go of yourself. Stop being pulled down. Now, relax, 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 relax. And then it pulls you up further, then it pulls you up further. And then you reach a point where it's pulling up so much, there's so much ecstasy that that's all you care about. That's just pulling you in. And you reach a point where you get scared. Why? Because you're still an individual experiencing this. You're experiencing beauty. You're experiencing God. You're experiencing love. But you're still there separate. And where it's trying to pull you into union. trying to pull you into yoga. Yoga means union, into the oneness. Christ said, my Father and I are one, didn't he? That's what it's talking about. And eventually you learn, the great ones learn to let go of their separateness, of their duality. I'm not a separate being. I'm God, the universe, looking at a separate being, staring at my mind. That's who you are. You are the infinite, absolute, all the galaxies, all of creation, the entire quantum field, the consciousness that created the quantum field, which is everywhere. That's who you are, staring at your thoughts and emotions and a tiny little body sitting on a tiny planet in which 1.3 million fit inside one sun. Give me a break. Kind of lost, right? That's the fall from the garden. Well, you find your way back by learning to let go. You're a great being. Nothing you ever did will ever make you not be a great being. You who's looking at the garbage is the most beautiful thing that ever was, but you're staring at what I explained to you. Now you understand where it comes from and why it is the way it is. You understand the fall. You didn't fall, you were pulled down, distracted. So if you work on yourself, it does not mean you don't interact with this world. You just don't interact with the world based on what you want and what you don't want. You interact with the world based on, here's reality unfolding in front of me, how can I help? I'm not here to serve me. I don't need to serve me. I'm filled with ecstasy. I'm not here to serve community. I'm here to bring down peace. I'm here to bring down clarity and see what it does. Let it deal. You're not going to fix anything. You're not here to fix. Christ didn't fix it, did he? Buddha didn't fix it, did he? Come on. You're not going to fix it. Don't do that. You're here to let go of yourself and bring down something beautiful to the moment that's in front of you. I've always taught this. The highest life you can live is that every moment that passes before you is better off because it did. I'm not going to define what better off means, but it's better off because it did. All right? Work on yourself. Work on this. Integrative.